Lover, I think we're all there. So glad you're here this morning on this beautiful day, which is great. Thank you for coming. My name is Mary. I'm your host and moderator for the Straight Talk Senior Living Series. We are now in our 6th year of doing these. So this has been our venue for almost the last year. It's been working out very well. Hello, ladies. Whoa. Who just adjusted that? Okay, they're turning it in the back so they can hear back there. So, as this slide shows, our mission is to educate, equip, and empower older adults and their families so that you're able to make good choices as you age gracefully, hopefully. Let's go along here. Several people that I would like to thank this morning. And one is our group of education partners. Would you all raise your hands back there? We have 16 education partners that help to make these seminars free for you. So let's give them a big hand. And we do have one new representative from Arbordale, and Keisha Jones. Keisha, raise your hand. Glad to have you with us. So they're here as a resource for you. Feel free to stop by, afterwards or next month. You can stop in and visit with them ahead of time. They're not here to sell you anything. They're just here to provide resources and to educate you. And I'd also like to thank Joan, my assistant. Hey, Joan. My husband, Howard. He's the quiet one. And also Suzanne Ritchie over here is going to be taking photos. It'll be posted to the website, and I think most of you may not know this, but we do record these, so if you miss something, you can go back and watch them on the website. Finally have a new web guy. My nephew decided that he was going to pursue another new career. So I was left without anybody for 2 months, and I was not going to try and figure out how to edit videos. So finally have somebody new, so we'll be getting those updated here in the next week or so. So, how many of you are first-timers here this morning? Wow, we have quite a few of you. Thank you. We're glad to have you here. Like I said, we're here to educate you. We're trying to get it to you straight, which is why it's called Straight Talk. No, you guys are not first-timers. I know. They're a groupie back there, they've been coming for years. So not every topic that we provide is going to trip your trigger, but I think every one of the topics is you can walk away with some information. I had a number of years ago, just recently, last year, and they had come into seminars for quite some time, and we've been doing a talk on real estate, and he came up afterwards and he said, "This was the best seminar I've ever heard." And I'm going, in my mind, I'm going, we've been talking this for 3 years. But it depends where you're at in your life. They were at the point where they were ready to move, so everything clicked. But he said, some of the stuff I kind of remember, but boy, it really stuck with me today. So just depends where you're at in your life. You have a bunch of handouts today. We have the feedback form, which should be on the bottom of your pile. We do appreciate you taking the time to fill that out. You can also register for the next seminar, which is going to be next month on September 21st, and that is Straight Talk about estate liquidation. And that's not going to be so much downsizing as we've had in the past, but it's going to be options on what do you do with the stuff? How do you get rid of it? Where are some of the resources, and how to tag sales work, estate sales, online sales, all that type of thing. So we're going to be taking a little bit different tack on the downsizing by talking about estate liquidation. When you leave today, especially for the first timers, please drop off your evaluation and your name badges, all of you, at the desk when you leave. And if we would like to ask you, please hold all your questions until the end. I'll just jot them down as we go along, and we'll be happy to answer those at the end of the seminar. We'll have plenty of time for that. Also, in all your handouts, if you had a schedule in the past, just throw it away. Had to do some major reworking this past week on all the seminars for the next 4 months due to speaker conflicts. So this is going to be the schedule, unless it has to change again, throughout the end of the year. So we'll be talking about estate liquidation. In October is Heads Up Health. We're going to be talking about oral health, how your prescriptions affect us as we age, and how to kind of advocate for yourself when you're at the doctor's office. And hopefully we'll have an audiologist joining us and have a little bit of a time getting somebody to be able to come for that. So if any of you know good audiologists, if you want to give up some time on a Thursday morning, we'd love to have them. And then Thursday the 16th of November, we're going to be talking about the fourth quarter, no regrets, which is once we're 75 and older. How do we make the best of our last years? And I know a lot of you think, I'll never live to be 100, but you know what? There's 104,000 people in the United States that are over 100 now. That's huge. So don't say I'm not going to live that long. So we're going to talk about how to make your last quarter the best. And then December 19th, we're going to be talking about living with Alzheimer's. So I think it's a pretty good group for the end of the year. And we've talked about the senior community tours, the discovery tours, where you have an opportunity to join a group of your friends here and we tour different communities to give you an opportunity to see what they're like, see how they're different, see what's the same. And so this is the schedule that we have coming up. We'll be doing Arbordale, Cedar Ridge Village, 3801 Grand, Ramsey Village, and Valley View Village. As you leave today, there's a table by the door as you leave, and you can sign up for those. And if you sign up, then I'll get you more information on how all of that works. So again, thank you all for coming. And at this time, let's invite our speakers to come on up front. We have Ashley Forrester and Ashley Phelps, both of them live to be healthy. That's great, they have the same name, so I don't have to worry about forgetting them. We have Deb Sesker with Restoration Chiropractor, and Michelle Sullivan with New Care Home Medical. And some of you may know that as Hammer Medical. Deb, you're down here. Let's give them a hand. And while they're being seated, did any of you happen to loan a couple of books to someone here on cats? Yes. She's been in a car accident and has not been able to be here. She's in pretty tough shape. Yeah, she's a sweetie. I went over to visit her last week and she said, I don't remember who gave them to me, but I need to get these back to her. Yeah. So let's start out here with introductions. Deb, let's start with you. You're one of our education partners. Thank you for participating today. And so let's introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business.
Well, I'm Dr. Deb Sesker. I'm a NUCA practitioner. You're going, what's that? NUCA is an acronym. It stands for National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association, cervical being neck. So that's my focus as a doctor of chiropractic. Work at Restoration Chiropractic with 2 other NUCA practitioners. And we're in West Des Moines, and we're here to talk about balance.
Great. Ashley? Ashley.
Hi, my name is Ashley Forrester. I work at Live to Be Healthy with Ashley Phelps here. I will let her do the breakdown, that way we don't repeat ourselves.
I'm Ashley as well, and we run group fitness classes at anywhere you call home, so maybe that's in your assisted living, independent living. With our senior centers, I see a few familiar faces, so today you'll dive deeper in why it is important to move your body.
And I'm Michelle Sullivan. I'm with New Care Home Medical, and as Mary mentioned, it was Hammer Medical Supply back in the day, 150 years this year from Hammer. We primarily deal in the DME and home medical equipment world, so canes, walkers, wheelchairs, hospital beds, Hoyers, compression stockings, really anything under the sun, as well as home modification.
What's DME?
Durable medical equipment, home medical equipment. Sorry, throw out an acronym.
I know, we're all used to doing that in our fields, and we tend to forget about that. So we're going to kind of break this down in three ways today. We're going to have Deb talk about structure and from the health standpoint, and Ashley are going to talk about actually how to strengthen yourself, and then at the end, Michelle is going to talk about some of the equipment that you may find helpful to have around. So, Deb, let's start with you. From a health standpoint, what affects us with balance? I mean, sometimes we can be dizzy, lightheaded, all that type of thing. What are some of the things that affect the balance?
That is a great question, and it's
Thank you.
really a broad question. So what I thought would be good for us to start out with this morning to lay the foundation is that which is the foundation to balance and not setting yourself up for having to fight gravity. So in brief, at some point in life, an accident or an injury creates a weakness in your spine and occurs where your head sits on your neck. At that level, there is a control center that controls the muscles of your back. You have a handout, and the muscles of your back, when controlled out of that area, when it's interfered with a slight displacement that you can't notice, it causes the muscles to be tighter on one side of your body than they are on the other side of your body. It will cause a draw in your leg because the muscles start and stop at different joints and they'll just draw it up. So if you were to lie on a table, it looks like one leg is shorter than the other one. It's not, it's just muscle tone controlled out of your neck. When you stand up, that leg drops to the floor, your hips tip, your center of gravity shifts, and you get a twisting in your framework to stand upright. But you're fighting gravity. It's like walking sideways on a hill. So, in order to be able to correct why the muscles are pulling unequally in your body, you have to come to the neck and correct the specific issue that's going on here. And at this point in time, you know more than almost everyone in the world. I was just talking to Ashley earlier, she was never heard of this. Medical doctors, other healthcare professionals are not aware of how this control happens and what to do about it. That's what I'm here to help you understand today, that a slight correction at the upper part of the neck can create the balance in the muscles that doesn't set you up to fight gravity.
You were talking about one leg being shorter than the other. A number of years ago, this is before I realized what was part of the problem with my back, is that a friend of mine at work, we'd gone to a consignment shop and bought some slacks. And so we got together, we were pinning up the, yes, thank you. And so I put on the one pair of slacks and Sue goes, how much did you pay for these? She said, there's these, one leg is about this much shorter than the other. Really? And I said, okay. So I tried on the other pair, and the same thing. I'm going, I bet this is why my back is bothering me. And sure enough, I went, and I actually found that my pelvis had shifted, and I had 30 pounds more weight on my left leg than I did on my right. It was amazing. It makes sense. It makes sense.
And not only you have your shift in your center of gravity and you're carrying more weight on one side and the other, your joints tip and twist. So they wear out sooner, they create more pain, which creates more dysfunction, and you're just constantly having to fight that battle. And so it's incredibly important that foundationally address what causes the imbalance structurally.
I mean, how many of us have had back problems or, whatever, and we go to the doctor and it's another prescription. And what those do is it covers up the pain, but it doesn't really address what the root cause is.
And actually, depending on whether it's a pain reliever, you don't realize that you've still got the problem, it's just putting a mask over it. Or they'll give you a muscle relaxer, and what you really need is muscle tone.
That's a whole other topic, isn't it? That's the harder one. So when we were talking, Deb, you had said that when the body's out of balance, the body gets confused. Explain that.
Well, anytime the joint relationship is off, it gets the body is beautifully and wonderfully made. And so what it's going to try and do is adapt, but when it's getting erratic nervous messages from the nervous system, and that causes the muscles to do differently, you can get the structural imbalance. But the other thing, which is another topic that I want to be able to address with you, is that some of the routines you have in your daily life, like the things you eat, your water intake, things like that, create inflammation. And when your body's inflamed, it's so busy reacting to what's going on that it breaks down, and it also creates a lot of fatigue, muscle weakness, etc.
So let's talk about, we talked that day about how do you fill your calendar. Elaborate on that a little bit more.
Yeah, well, if you want to know what's brought you to where you are today, you can look at your calendar and your checkbook. You know, that credit card. And it tells you what you focused on in terms of your activity. And structure, not only the body needing balance, but structure in the activities of your daily living are critically important, and you have control of all of that.
Okay. Then you talked about, nutrition. How does that play a role? Nutrition and hydration.
So when you look at the structure of your body, you've got your bone structure, but then you've got the nervous system that the bone encases, right? It's telling the whole body what to do. But one of the things it talks to are the muscles. And for us to be able to have what we need in terms of organ function and muscle strength, we need to be able to be aware of what we're eating and how it impacts what's happening in your body. And again, you have total control over this. So culturally, we have a strong emphasis in this country of high glycemic, meaning a lot of sugar, right? Foods, a lot of high glycemic carbohydrates, breads, pastas, desserts, alcohol. Inflammation, extraordinary. And what you're not getting is a good solid balance in protein, which is what maintains your muscle. So there are vegetarian options for protein, there are meat sources for protein, right? And you need those things for building blocks for your muscle. But when we have such a focus on sugary, high carbohydrate foods like the breads, pastas, desserts, and alcohol, we really are creating a lot of inflammation. We're not giving our body the foundational components of what it needs. You know, meat, veggies, a tinge of fruit, throw in a few nuts, eat consistently so that you're eating and you're not putting big time frames between when you eat, because if the body thinks you're trying to starve it, guess what? It scavenges muscle. Good answer. Anyway, so you end up losing muscle, and what I'd like for you to do is look at the other handout that talks about muscle loss. And look, and you might be surprised at how much muscle you start to lose as early as age 30. So what you want to do is to be able nutritionally to take in the types of foods and the frequency in your day so that your body stays balanced. It gets everything it needs. If you eat as soon as you get up at bedtime and every 2.5 to 3 hours, your body gets what it needs, and if you give it a good source of protein and veggies and a touch of fruit and some nuts, and you can spread that out to your day, it's amazing what you will find your body do in terms of function to maintain your muscle, to make you be able to think straight, and give you the energy you need in order to be able to manage and support your structure. And course, what I would say is get the structure balanced first, and then support yourself with activity that these ladies are going to address, because it's important to do that, but you got to do it from a balanced structure.
So, eat more frequently, and eat things with protein.
If you eat, your body thinks you're trying to starve it if you go 4 hours between any two times you feed it. And that's when it'll scavenge muscle. So, you don't want to put your body into a starvation mode. It'll make you lightheaded, it'll make you weak, your body starts to take muscle. It's just, you really do need to eat as soon as you get up, because your body's been working really hard all night, trying to keep you alive and doing clean up from the day. And so it's like putting gas in your tank, you guys. So you want to eat as soon as you get up, eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, a little something, so you're not putting a whole bunch in all at once. And then you've got to put some gas in the engine before you sleep so that your body has the energy it needs to function overnight. It makes you to have a better day the next day and be stronger and have more energy because you haven't put the body into a starvation mode. So all that's really, really important. And then taking the proper nutrition also. If you carry extra weight, for every pound of extra weight you carry, it increases 4 pounds of stress on your joints, especially your knees. You know what that does to your balance, right? So that's something that's very important to address. And the other thing is, I'll address this when we talk about head carriage just a little bit, and I'll do that in just a minute. But water, the other thing with that is if you need to take in, they say half your body weight in water, not to exceed 100 ounces. How many of y'all think you take in a goodly amount of water in a day?
Handful.
You have no idea how important water intake is to you. When you dehydrate, sure you can drop your blood pressure, but it also affects the blood-brain barrier and can cause you to not think straight. It causes muscle weakness, it causes cramping, it causes lack of coordination. If you would just increase your water intake to have your body weight not to exceed 100 ounces, because too much of a good thing is not a good thing. But they say 64 ounces of water a day. You start your day with a glass of water and just sip on it all day long, and you cut it off before it keeps you up all night. Right? So, but it's really important that you get that water intake, because it can be another very foundational component to what's going on with balance issues.
And it's an easy and inexpensive thing to do. You don't have to, it's not trying to change your diet yet. Just getting hydrated is huge. Okay?
One of the things I was gonna, and I don't know if you're bringing it up now, but I was gonna address, because a lot of people are concerned about carrying your head forward, that anterior head carriage, and I gotta stand up for this. So, let me come up here. So when you miss a line up here in your neck, and the leg draws, foot drops down, hip tips, center of gravity shifts, and the body starts to compensate. And what we do is we start to age, we're losing some muscle, we're not eating properly, or drinking our water in order to maintain it, and we just start to break down, right? Break down, the head goes forward. For every 1 inch the head is forwarded, it increases 10 pounds of stress on the base of your neck and your upper back. That's a lot. But you start to compensate like this. And do you remember what your mama told you when you were young, to hold your shoulders back, stand up straight? God love her, she was wrong. Because here's what you want to do. So, first of all, when we start getting concerned about losing our balance, one of the first things we do is we look at the floor, don't we? And we see where we're walking. Do you know what you're doing to the position sensors that your head and neck are loaded with? And you're putting that head forward? Honey, you're just making it so much worse. Okay? So what you want to be able to do, first of all, get alignment so that you don't have a shift and a twist. But once you do that, then you want to stick your bum out just a little bit and arch your back over the top of it. And did you see what just happened to my shoulders? They came back. If you try and hold your shoulders back, you're going to go. So you're going to look like a turtle. So you're going to, if you have to do this, you're going to do this. And I will tell you that is torture on the upper cervical part of your spine, which controls the muscles of your back, which is going to cause them to be more unequal, which is going to increase your problem. So what you want to do is bum out, back arched. Now we're lined up. And get your eyes off the floor when you walk. Spot. Make sure you're clear. And then bum out, back arched, and look out there. And it will make a huge difference.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Deb, let's address the dizziness and vertigo that people have. How does all that tie in with the balance issue? I mean, obviously it affects balance.
So nerves tell every cell tissue in order in your body what to do. The brainstem is the fuse box for the whole house, okay? The origin of the nerves that feed all the head and neck, and your neck is loaded with position sensors, and so is your head. And so when you go out at the brainstem and create that stress, the nerves are like it's static on a phone line. And so it can create the imbalance that makes you dizzy. Okay? The other thing is your inner ear. You've got all this nerve function and things going to your inner ear, which are also creating balance. All the origin of those nerves all come out of this base of the skull, and the upper part of the neck, the brainstem, and the lower brain. So being able to get that clear helps set that foundation. But the other thing is, when we were young, we jumped and crawled and rolled and spin and active, and we were incredibly active and moving. And when that happens, you challenge the position sensors in your neck and your head. And when you challenge those position sensors, it's like exercising a muscle. And they stay toned and responsive, and they know what to do. As we start to get older in age, and we have a sedentary lifestyle and jobs that keep us sitting on our rump, and we're not moving around, those position sensors start to forget what to do and not to respond as quickly because we're not exercising those. So not only is the alignment, foundational alignment necessary, but being able to get those position sensors challenged by moving. I have a feeling they're going to address that. And get yourself, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to run a marathon, it doesn't mean you have to bust it at the gym, but it does mean you want to stay active, move around, and challenge those position sensors. And I would guess these guys are going to probably talk to you about how to do that.
Okay. We got a science class today, didn't we? That was great. Thank you. That was great. And it all makes sense. We just need to be a little more.
Don't use it, you'll lose it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Thanks, Deb. That was great. Okay, let's move on to Ashley, and they're with Make to Be Healthy, and let's just talk about when somebody first experiences imbalance, what should they do?
So what we find often when Ashley and I are in class, we get approached after class or before, and they say, I just had a fall. What should I do? And that's probably, I'd say, our most common that we get. And my biggest advice is don't wait for that first big fall. Don't wait to be more proactive right now. So oftentimes, maybe you can empathize to this. If you've had a fall, then you're nervous about the next fall, right? So just always be cognizant about what you can do to prevent and what to do in the now. the inevitable is going to happen. We are going to maybe have that incident. Winter's coming. That's always a scary time, right? We want to waddle on the ice, and so we're walking careful. But just being top of mind, what can I do in my home to help with that next fall or to prevent?
You had some statistics that I thought were pretty amazing in terms of falls with older adults.
Actually, we'll share those statistics. I'm putting her on the spot just so you know.
She really is here. She didn't prepare me for this at all. So if I stumble over my words, it's her fault. So the couple statistics that we had talked about the other day, one of them that's pretty big is very typically we see 1 in every 4 people have a fall each year, which is actually very high. So when you look at that as about a 25%, that's a pretty high statistic when you look at that. I would love to count it out and demonstrate it for you, but even if you just look how many people are next to you in a row, 1 of every 4 of you for that visual would be every year. The next one we talked about was in every 11 seconds, older adults end up in the ER due to falls. So think about how often that is when you're thinking every 11 seconds. I've already talked for longer than that, right? So thinking about how often that is. And every 19 minutes, an older adult dies from a fall-related injury. So again, thinking how long even we've just been sitting here at this panel, how long we've been sitting here discussing, how many times 19 minutes has passed over is a huge statistic.
So it's definitely important to be aware and to plan. And I think Ashley won. Yeah, mentioned that, when you have that fall, you're a little bit obviously apprehensive about going back out. I mean, it's like when you have a car accident, maybe you're afraid to get back in the car, and the sooner you can do that, the better. If you fall down the steps, it's real easy to think, well, I'm just not going to do as much of that, but you really need to just get back up, provided you're okay, and get back doing that so you're not, that fear isn't there. I had a friend a number of years ago that was in a car accident. It was a really weird one. I'm not going to get into those details, but she was terrified to get back in the car, and I went over the next day and I said, we're going out driving. She said, I can't do it. She said, I just can't do it. I said, yes, you can. We're going to drive. And I do think that helped her a lot, because pretty soon she was driving on her own. You've got to work through that fear. And falls are scary as we get older. We just don't know. I mean, I've had my share in the last few years, and this last one was just a few weeks ago. I felt like my life truly flashed before my eyes. I mean, I fell on the front concrete step and hit my head twice on it. And you know what went through my mind? I thought about my girls, I thought about Howard. The other 2 things were, I haven't cleared out the house enough, and I'm busy know what my passwords are. I have a little bit of work yet to do. But my point is, I went in the house and, iced my knee and my head and my wrist, and I was a little bit apprehensive about going back out those steps that I've been going up and down for 30 years. I thought, I've just got to go back out and do those steps. And I'm a little more cautious than I am using the handrail and making sure the dog isn't in the way. But that fear is there, regardless of how old we are and what caused it. So be aware of it. Now, you also said that age shouldn't affect our falls. Is that true?
I'd say yes, that's true. I've had many falls myself, and I think it's important to practice at any age. When someone does fall, the statistics is that you're going to fall left to right versus forward and back. So kind of working on that cognizant of left to right, stepping heel to toe, really, really basic, right? And we bring these up in our classes of how you can empathize and work with this on the daily. So I'm doing it. I catch myself as I walk out of here. I'm looking down at my walking heel to toe and my shuffling my feet. It's kind of gotten to be a joke at my house. They laugh. My husband, instead of putting on socks and shuffling through my hardwood floor, which is fun as a kid, I'm more using that movement. So or I'm standing on one foot and I'm working on my ankle strength. I might be moving heel toe or side to side. So you can start incorporating it, and you're going to catch yourself just doing it just like you're grabbing a drink of water. One of my clients says at church she has the pew in front of her and she's standing on one foot. She says, "Ashley, nobody knows I'm working on my balance." She feels very sneaky. So trying to just incorporate little things, and it really does make a difference.
Like probably even standing in the sink.
Exactly.
One
Sink,
leg.
brushing teeth, right?
So let's talk about the range of motion and body awareness. How does all of that play into our balance?
So there's a nice visual that you'll have in front of you where it shows an individual seated. It's light blue, and so I also like just the education piece of stacking your joints. So even now, if you want to take a moment to look at that, are your shoulders in front of your hips? Are your shoulders above your hips? And then looking down at your ankles, as your ankles under your knees. So just think about in a library that you're stacking books on top of one another. Everyone find it okay? Well, if not, thank you. We've got a great visual right there in front of you. Held up. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Al. And if not, just let us know and we can make sure you take that home with you. I always say maybe put that on your refrigerator, and you can be proud like that you're using that as a reminder that you have those joints stacked. So range of motion is really good, but are you using the right motions, or are you hurting those joints more than making it better?
Devin had mentioned, core, and we've talked a lot about building your core. What is your core? What does that mean, and how do you strengthen that?
Yes, Deb set us up for success with, talking about the importance of movements, but what type of movement should you do? Of course, cardio is great. Of course, housework is great, but what are you doing to strengthen your core? The stronger you get your core muscles, the stronger your back muscles will be. And when you're either moving forward or back, you want to engage that core to help you catch. So think about an intersection. I am a visual person, so like on 235, you've got the, what do they call it, where they're always checking if the 8 words curving around.
Clover leaves.
Clover leaves, thank you. Think about your core as those clover leaves. And the stronger the middle is, that connects your lower body and the upper body. So you really want to focus on your core. And that doesn't mean you have to sit and do crunches or plank. You can just simply engage your core by driving, putting your belly button, pressing it back to your spine, placing your hand on your stomach. Is my core engaged, or am I just kind of relaxing? Very, very simple. Ashley and I are not reinventing the wheel. We're just putting that reminder in front of you to what you should do to age well in place. Very, very basic. Anyone can do it. You don't have to be a certain profile. You don't have to be a certain age. It's just to help you have that success.
Is that something that you can do when you're walking then too? Is
Absolutely.
second in your...
Yep. Think about your skinny jeans, or I don't know, I don't wear jeans, but favorite leggings, I don't know, something that you're just always using that core strength. If you have 5 minutes of exercise, work on the core. Stomach is everything. The stronger your front is, the stronger your back will be. It's all connected like that clover.
Are there other things that they can do to strengthen core besides that particular thing?
Yes.
For those that want to be a little more...
For sure, absolutely. So if you're watching the news at home and a commercial comes on, just simple leg lifts, pulling those knees up. That's going to be your lower abdominals. You're pulling the knees up. So think about you've got your upper abdominals, your lower body, even your side obliques right there on the side. So by lifting legs is perfect. Seems very simple. Maybe just holding those legs out straight and an isolated hold like you're frozen. Lots of little tips and tricks. By coming to class, you can use all the class material that we do and apply it at your own home.
Let's talk about the classes that you do, because those are free for everybody.
Thank you. Yes, I'll let Ashley take over the freeness and putting her on the spot again.
Yes, so we offer multiple free classes across the Des Moines Metro. And as I said before, that's 100% free for anybody to come and take those classes. We are in all of the Polk County Senior Centers. And if you are interested in wanting that class schedule, we can get you that handout with our class schedule, which is at each location and what time those classes are offered. They're typically about 45 minutes of a class, and we have our trainers come in. They do a little warm up with you to get your muscles moving and ready to go. Then they have the middle part of class where they'll focus on the whole body, sometimes focusing in your arms, moving into that core and those legs. Balance is thrown in there as another component, and then they finish with a little cool down for about 45 minutes. So that gives you just a little bit of a taste of what that would look like. And again, it's totally free. So we love to say that there shouldn't be many barriers for you to be able to come join us. And then again, take that information home with you.
And you also do those classes at some of the senior communities as well.
Correct, yep. Anywhere you call home. So if you're in assisted living, we work with a majority of assisted living, independent living, some co-ops. And then as you know, as you drive around, there's so many new getting built. So it's always evolving where classes are. Another thing that is a benefit is maybe you've heard of Silver Sneakers, Silver and Fit. United Healthcare is now Renew Active. So the way we partner with them is they want that incentive of you as an individual that holds that insurance to go to our classes. So we do partner with those insurance providers that believe in what Live to Be Healthy does. So obviously I believe in what we do, but it always helps to have that backing of the insurance is that support what we do. You get a little bit of incentives. I don't sell the insurance, but I have one of my gals that say if I go to class X amount of times in the month, then I get a voucher for my loved one to apply to her college, kind of a credit, something of that nature. But that could be that you could call and check with your provider. I know maybe obviously it's going to lower your premium. We know that you're going to go to the doctor less if you're coming in moving your body. So that's a big factor. We also do testing at our classes, which every 6 months we look at how you've improved. We look at your upper body strength, your lower body strength, your flexibility, and then your balance. So you do get that applied to coming to class. So you can kind of report.
Because I had people say, well, what exactly does Live to Be Healthy do? So you're all about healthy living, creating the balance.
Muscle confusion, no one class is the same. So you won't get bored. You might say, I can watch a video at home. That's great. Keep the video, but do what we do also.
We talked about walking, Deb did earlier, but and then we talked about that the other day too. So when you're walking, what's the best way? Head up, head down?
Like you're driving, looking forward, straight ahead. I notice with walkers, sometimes we're looking down because we don't want to know where our step is or to make sure where our wheels are going, but I'd say always look forward.
Yeah, so you want to see the big picture.
Absolutely.
So if you're walking down the sidewalk and you see there's a crack on the sidewalk coming up or it's been heaved a little bit, you know it's coming. So you're prepared for that. It is easy just to keep looking down all the time, but that's not good for any of it. So if I'm at home and I have a family member that is going to be needing help with walking, maybe they've been in rehab or whatever, helping somebody else can really put our body out of whack pretty quickly. What's the best way to help somebody walk around the house? And you have something.
Yes, I do have something. Great question. So oftentimes we're humans, we want to help people, we're doers, but how are we doing this and are we doing it properly? Has anyone heard of a gait belt here? Gait belt. Perfect. I get it. Good, awesome. Perfect. Speaking my language. Okay. So instead of using or pulling or grabbing a t-shirt, we're going to use a gait belt. And we'll just show you a little demonstration. Yes, this is the gait belt, but how do you use it? So Ashley's going to be put on the spot again. She's her favorite thing. She's going to take a look at how this works. So, your belt, but instead of at your hips, you're going to take it right towards your belly button. I'll move it around. So either or you're helping the individual, or they're doing it themselves, and then you'll take this and put it through there. I always like to
hold the mic up
Yes,
for it now.
Yes. And then the individual that's helping, the individual getting up, it's always important to not have any clothes, check your surroundings, so that if you're trying to pull up, you've got, a clear. And these can be found even at Walgreens. I just got back from a trip that I was helping individuals, and they left it on the airplane. We picked it up at Walgreens. You can order them online at Amazon. There are different sizes, right? Just like the belt. So what's important with this, there you go, perfect, my beautiful model. So instead of getting Ashley to the maybe we're going from couch and we're gonna head and grab the vehicle for errands. I'm not gonna grab her t-shirt or go under her armpit. I'm gonna take right where her belly button is, that's gonna be her full core, looking at our core again, right? And I will then take it with both hands, and as she's I take front and back, and as she stands on up. So I'm not pulling her, I'm not tugging, I'm just assisting. She's still doing a lot of work within her legs, but we're doing this properly. Make sense? I can show again, but that's the general, right at the belly button. We don't want it around our neck, we don't want it down at our hips. You don't imagine what that would be like, but yeah, just another support. And again, that type of gait belt's made out of a lot of good texture, so even as we age, we lose grip, we lose, I know, open up water bottles are more difficult, so that you've got that texture, that structure that I'm going to take and pull Ashley up versus trying I don't know, my mom at home has used a robe belt. I'm like, no, that's going to tear. We know this is durable, safe, and nice and thick. So utilize your sources, right? Utilize what you have to set you up for success.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, do you have something to add?
So I was just gonna say that's such good advice, and the fact that you're reaching in for their core, you're getting in close. Because one of the things we tend to do is not posture ourselves correctly to assist others. But if you get in close and center gravity, because you're grabbing that core, then you're not looking at reaching out with your head and neck to get up and creating instability yourself, right? So you get in close, you tuck your chin, and you got that core, and you can just come together. It's such good advice.
Absolutely, nothing's worse than having one individual that needs help, and then all of a sudden I need help because I pulled. Ashley's told stories about her grandparents. So you have to have that go-to person that can assist and help, and hopefully you yourself can know how to do it properly. And in an event, you're kind of in that fight or flight. I gotta get them up, I gotta hurry, but use your services, use your tools.
Okay, very good. Okay, Michelle, let's talk about the different tools that are available to people if their balance isn't great or they need that extra help. And particularly if they might be living alone, some of the things that they could have in their home to use to help them.
Absolutely. So there are so many different items that can be purchased to help somebody prevent falls. Starting with a basic cane. So your one single cane or a quad cane. Then you could jump to a walker with a seat, walker without a seat. You have an opportunity to buy a transport chair or be in a wheelchair if your falls have become too frequent based on usage of the cane or your walker. You will always, depending on what your severity of falls are or how your gait or balance is, that will determine what the most appropriate piece of equipment will be for you. And that would be something you talking to your provider about, your therapist, someone that does some health classes, or a chiropractor, whomever can help you understand what the best piece of equipment will be to keep you safe and keep you from falling.
So that's something that if I'm having trouble falling, I just should go out and buy myself a cane, or probably should talk to somebody about is there a better type of cane?
You definitely can have a conversation with someone at any home medical equipment store about what's going to be the most appropriate and where you feel more comfortable and will fit you for the right cane. That can also be said for a walker. So if you come into one of our locations, we'll have someone that's going to be there to make sure that when you walk out the door with that walker, that you're not leaning over. I'm so glad that everyone brought up leaning. Our service technicians will make sure that that walker has you in a good position so you're not straining your back, straining your neck, and that you're staying safe.
What is the best position in a walker? Because so many times I see people shuffling around, they're pushing in there, obviously their posture is out the window.
The most upright you could be, and again, just tagging off of what everyone else has talked about, leaning over is not going to be something that is, at the end of the day, going to keep you safe. You're going to want to have your eyes front and ahead, just looking for objects such as sidewalk instabilities or curves. You're going to want to really be upright, and that's why we will make sure that those arms are adjusted to a walker to accommodate you to be upright and not leaning over.
So do you walk behind the walker? Do you walk in it?
Well, there's different kinds of walkers. So you can walk in it if it's aluminum. You can walk behind it if it has a seat. And then we have what's called a U-step walker, which is primarily used for anyone with Parkinson's disease or someone that has a limitation of the use of one hand. And you would walk kind of inside of it. And this is a little heavier. It's a U-step walker. There's springs. So there's a lot more to it than just a regular walker. So it really depends on the type of walker you're getting.
What should people be doing in their homes to prepare for falls or just in home care?
Absolutely. And that mobility will lead into what's going to be the best thing at home. So we do home modification. If somebody's mobility needs have changed in the home, if you went from a walker to, let's say, a scooter or a power wheelchair, changes in the home will be needed. You would have doors that are widened. You might need a ramp to enter your residence. You may do something as simple as widening or redoing a bathroom. If falls and mobility is not an issue, you're just having falls, let's say in the bathroom, that's where a lot of falls happen. We can do grab bars. We don't need to find a stud. We can just get right in there, it's called a wing it. We can do a tub cut, which is very simple. We just cut off part of your tub so that you're not stepping over that large threshold. We can do walk-in showers, anything with low threshold, so you're not stepping on. Those thresholds can be a little tricky. If you hit your toe on that threshold, you will tumble forward. So removing rugs, a simple thing can be can save you from falling. So removing rugs, but if it's beyond that scope and you're needing additional, help within each room, we can take a look at that. You mentioned handrails. We do handrails. Whether it's leading into the home, additional handrails in the home. We can do stair lifts, we can do elevators. There's a lot of different options. And as a courtesy of New Care, our guys go out and actually walk through what you're thinking and what you want in your environment.
So it's going to be adapted specifically to your needs. They don't come in and say, well, yeah, this is what we do.
Absolutely. It's always going to be specific.
I have a specific question about handrails. I noticed that in some of the 55-plus places, they don't have any by the toilet or in the shower, and they say that they can install them. Is there a right positioning for those, diagonal, vertical, horizontal? Please speak to that a little bit.
Absolutely. That's such a good question.
Yeah. The question was on handrails. Is there a particular way to have those installed?
That is where our professionals will come in and do their assessment, talk about what the need is so that someone's individual apartment is that there's no right or wrong. So is it straight up and down? Is it at an angle? Is it low? Is it high? It's basically what do we need to do to make sure the person that's residing there is staying safe inside that bathtub. So there's many, many options. There's no right or wrong. It's what is going to be the best to keep someone from falling in the shower.
You know, we had talked the other day, Michelle, about, just how easy it is to fall getting in and out of chairs or out of the couch. What types of things do you have to help people with that?
Absolutely. So in each of our locations, we do have an area that you can come in and look at different poles. So it's a pole that would be from floor to ceiling. It's not something that we would come in and do as a home modification, but you can drill it into the ceiling, you can drill it into the floor. It comes with springs, and it is holding on to having that where you need it the most. So if you're trying to get out of a chair, then you can have that pole situated so that it helps you get from seated to standing position. It can keep you safe. That pole could be used anywhere around your home. So it could be used near your bed, it could be used near your chairs, it could be used in your bathroom. So it's something you buy off the floor and you would have to have somebody help you kind of install it, but it's an option.
Is it spring loaded?
It is, yeah, there are spring loaded, and then I think you can also take out the mechanisms and actually drill it into each, the ceiling and floor.
That's also good, I think, because a lot of people, I know, as they're sitting down, will misjudge, and they miss the chair and they go down. So having a pole like that is also.
And we can do a simple, we can do something as simple as even tucking poles underneath mattresses, or having a tray and pole near your chair. So if you have a favorite recliner and you're having a heck of a time getting out of it, and it's not a lift chair with a little electric thing, we can do a lot of different options. So really, once you come in to visit with our customer service reps, talk about what the need is, they'll be able to point you in the right direction.
Okay, the one question I'm sure has crossed everybody's mind, because it's all, money. What are those types of things going to cost me?
Absolutely. Everything is priced differently, and not everything is covered by insurance. So it really, when you walk in and you see a plethora of home medical equipment, you're initially not going to know, is my insurance going to pay for it or not? Because some things are coded, some things are not coded. I brought in 2 walkers. One walker, the red one, covered by insurance. The blue one with the little net on it, not covered by insurance. So once you make your way into having a discussion with our customer service rep, or when you're talking to your provider and understanding that there is going to be a need, they will, you can come visit us, or your provider can write a note and a prescription so that your insurance company will cover the coded piece of equipment. You always, when you want to use your insurance, you always want to go see your provider first, because insurance requires that they write a progress note and they talk about the need for that piece of equipment. And going back to what Deb said, she brought up activities of daily living. That is very important for your provider to touch base on. Where are you having the problems? Are you having a problem getting to the bathroom on time? Are you having a problem getting into your bedroom to room? Are you having a problem getting into your kitchen to prepare your meal? So those discussions we'll be looking for in those progress notes once they come to us, and then we'll be able to determine what the best walker will be that insurance will pay for.
Okay, very good. Okay, ladies, that was a lot of great information. Let's give them a big hand. And we are going to open it up for Q&A right now. Yes.
I'd like to make a comment first, or ask a question. What about tennis shoes? Especially brand new tennis shoes. I've had experience with brand new tennis shoes, especially the toe part, can be tacky. And when you're walking across the carpet with a tacky toe in a tennis shoe, you can trip and fall. Is that, I've seen that. What is your experience with that? Anyway.
Yeah, again, I think it's best, any sort of shoe, depending on what the shoe is, lifting up that foot and making sure that it's, that it's a conscious effort to rise that foot up above that carpet. That again, we're looking at different ways to prevent a fall based on that tennis shoe hitting. Maybe it's time to invest in a different pair of shoes. But I don't know that we carry anything that would allow for that not to be sticky in the front.
But I can see where that would be a big problem.
What I recommended to people is to go out on the concrete and scuff it up.
Step it up. Perfect.
Make it older.
Yes, absolutely.
I use,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, and then the other thing to remember is that when you have the muscles drawing more on one side and the pelvis drops on one side, the right to the left shift is the most common fall. One leg is going up, you're shifting, then what's going to happen is one of those toes is going to hit first, and and so just because it's the quote unquote longer leg, and so you got a real problem there, and so that's a contributor. But certainly scuffing them up, but there's a bajillion brands out there, and they all have their own set of issues, but you just want something that's supportive, and then, like you say, if you've got a problem like that, you recognize it. When you're looking at them, initially assess it, you feel like that's there, and choose a different brand or scuff them up.
Along those same lines, you probably don't want a shoe that has a totally smooth, totally smooth sole on it, because you're going to slip on just about everything.
Well, you need support. You need something that has enough of a friction that you're not slipping. And I heard rumor that somebody was concerned about we're going to tell you to change your shoes. But, when you're carrying your balance unequally, you will wear one shoe out before the other. And so you're adding to the imbalance. And so I would encourage you to make sure the shoes are equal and balanced and supportive and have enough of a grip, not too much, that you're not going to be sliding. But you look at your new shoes when you buy them, because they're not all created equal. I have had people come into the office and I'm looking for a long and short leg, and I look at their shoes and they're not the same. So they're already out of the game. So make sure you're checking the soles on your shoes to make sure they're equal, even on a new pair.
Okay, we're going to open it up for Q&A. Now, Michelle has another appointment to get to. So if anybody has questions for Michelle, let's address her questions first. Yes, Scott.
Are there any companies that currently manufacture a battery operated lift chair that's not electric? Or any company that's maybe doing research or coming on board with something like that?
Wondering about lift chairs if they're battery operated?
Right. As far as I know, there's not any discussions we use Golden. There's other companies we like Golden, we like their warranties, we like what they offer as support. Right now, it's electric. If they are looking or testing for battery lift chairs, they haven't shared their secret with us yet. But you never know. I mean, everything is evolving. But right now, they are plug-in and electric chairs only.
Okay. Got a question over here. Wait for the microphone.
Talking about tub cuts.
Yes.
And they're really quite common down in Sun City, Arizona. But I have tried to find here, they have no idea about it. You guys do it, you guys figure out.
Can you turn off the microphone on that one? She was asking about tub cuts, if there's anybody here in the Des Moines area that does the tub cuts.
We have a home modification department at New Cara Home Medical. They will do the tub cut. We can even do cast iron. So we've been out to the farmhouses to do cast iron. So we can do a tub cut. We can put a door on it. We recommend a heavy duty shower curtain. So yes, we do tub cuts at New Cara.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay. Another question for Michelle before she has to leave? We have one over here.
What's your take on non-skid rugs?
Would you repeat that?
What's your take on non-skid rugs, like by the shower?
Well, they're a lot better than skiddy rugs. I think ultimately, if it's a flatter rug that's not going to move and has some of that sticky, porous, and it is guaranteed not to slip out from underneath you. No one wants to walk out on a floor that's tile and it's wet, because then you also pose another problem. So I definitely would recommend talking to anyone that is either at, your home medical equipment company, or if you're looking for something that non-skid is definitely gonna be a better option so that you're not falling.
You carry those?
We don't, but like I always say, if somebody comes in and has a question for us at any of our locations, we will hop on our computer and we will show you where it is if we can't help you out, so.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Michelle?
I like this, I wanna stay all day.
Oh, I think we've got somebody down here.
Yes, Hammer Medical Supply. Yep, Hammer Medical Supply. We merged with New Cara Pharmacy and then decided to put everything under one umbrella. So sometimes we'll get people say, well, I'm not gonna call you New Cara, you're Hammers to me. So that's fine too. We appreciate that. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Down over here.
Yeah, we carry walking sticks.
You do, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll have those on the showroom floor. Most of our locations do carry the walking stick. My dad preferred that over the others, so he didn't feel like, he felt like he was more out in the middle of nowhere in Montana, and, so that was his preference. So yeah, we always have a variety of different canes and colors and patterns.
Cool. Okay, any others? Okay. All right. Let's open it up for the rest of the questions. Warren?
Well, good morning. I think this is probably for the two actions involving to me like a giant sized web now. Were you using both hands, front and back, when you were lifting? Okay, I've got a kind of a common reoccurring problem trying to get people in and out of the car. Our church offers taxi service, if you will, to go out and pick up those that can't drive. And I really find, and they're all different sized women, waiting well.
Now, come here.
People, all different sized people. But I find getting them out of the car is tough. And I envision this belt, and then I got the door open, and they're leaning, how do I get a person out of the car? Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, before she goes, I'm gonna take it over, because I think it was returned.
Yeah, so quickly, we have a pivot circle that you can buy at our locations, and literally it's gonna pivot that person so that their legs are now ready for them to use them to get out of the vehicle. We also have a handle that goes into, when the door opens, there's a piece of metal, and you can put a handle in that allows them to pivot themselves based on that. So a couple different options as far as, assistive technology devices.
So they're sitting on something to pivot?
Yep, it's a circle, and it just pivots them, so then their legs are out and ready to get up and out in the seat.
What was that cost? This ballpark.
$30.
There you go. Other questions? Yes, one in the back row. Shirley?
I have a question for the Ashburns. If you don't live in Polk County, can you still go to the Polk County Senior Centers and take your classes?
Absolutely, we highly encourage it. And if you've gone to West Des Moines Senior Center and you're out for an appointment, maybe on the east side of Des Moines, you can intermingle throughout the senior centers. And then time frames are different, as early as 8:30 and as late as 2 in the afternoon. So if you want to do 2-a-days, you can. Maybe you go to the south side, and I'm going to go to the northwest side. But yeah, the short answer is yes, anywhere.
Could you tell us again how we get the schedule for those classes?
Two ways to find the schedule: to go to the website, which is just live2behealthy.com, and you can enter in your zip code right there. That's option one. Option two is we have some flyers back there that you could snap a picture if you would like, and or take one home. But the website is where you put in your zip code. If you're traveling and you are in California, wherever, Texas, you can go to any Live to Be Healthy classes too. So we're across the US if you're a snowbird, right?
That's a great option.
Yes, yes. So we have some that intermingle with other areas.
Yes, Norma's had another question.
Is an appointment necessary?
Appointment is not necessary. There's no commitments. You don't have to sign a month with Live to Be Healthy. There are some out in Ankeny that are a little bit more popular, where we haven't had to have a wait list yet. But for the most part, come in. If it's your first time, we ask that you're 10 minutes ahead of time to talk to the site supervisor and fill out paperwork, which is very straightforward, and you get a little key fob. But I'd say 10 minutes before, show up. That's it.
Yes, Lynn.
If you're living alone, would it be advisable for everybody to have a life alert? And what age should they get that?
On the life alert?
Yes, we do many phone calls for the life alert. We don't sell them directly from New Cara. We can lead somebody in the right direction. I know recently with my dad's, some of the stuff he's had going on, he was able to get one from the VA. But I don't think it's a bad idea if you're living alone. My dad lives alone, and we feel a lot more confident that he'd be able to get a hold of somebody faster if he does fall in his split level house. That he would be able to contact somebody. But at whatever age, I mean, I guess it doesn't, when you're ready to or feel like you want somebody to get to you quickly, it's probably a really good idea. We can lead you to the right direction, and our pharmacies might actually have some of those as well. We're all hooked, and you'll be hooked to the police and the EMTs, and it all will go right to them.
It can also be on your Apple Watch.
Yes. Yes, our Apple Watch, she says.
Oh, the Apple Watch.
The watches can do amazing things.
And using the body belt can help them getting up from the chair. You can also use it to help them just walk.
Absolutely, yeah. Walking side by side for peace of mind. If they're feeling unsteady, do walker, gait belt, all of the above. Where obviously if we're walking side by side, I'm not going to touch front and back. I'm just going to hold the side. You see that often. Yep, great question. Back is okay. I would prefer the side because, like we spoke earlier, the most common fall is left to right. And if you're in the back, it might almost feel like you're getting pulled, right? And it's just a light touch. I'm not tucking, I'm not pulling. Think of it as a support blanket, right? I'm just kind of there for the peace of mind.
Some security systems can tie a life alert.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Thanks, Marilyn. Anybody else? So did you learn something new today?
Yes.
Great. Do any of you have one last thing that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I was just gonna say, if anybody's interested, I have a level that I can put on hips back there, so if you wanna know if you're got a pelvic tilt or working against gravity, I'm more than be happy to show you.
That's a pretty cool tool.
I also have brochures on the back table. One is just our general brochure, kind of gives a glimpse, I always say glimpse inside of our front door, things that we have. It also shows your locations of each New Cara. And then there's a home modification brochure, so if somebody wants that tub cut, they can call in our home modification coordinator and have that discussion. My cards are back there, and I'm always happy to take any phone calls if there's any questions in addition to what has been talked about here.
Great. So, just a reminder here that our next seminar is next month on September 21st about estate liquidation. And again, want to thank our education partners. All of our speakers will be back at the table afterwards if you want to take some time to ask them questions one-on-one. That would be great. And again, thank you for coming today. Hope you learned a lot. Let's get our speakers tonight.